So you've now heard from both leaders, which still leaves us in a position of some doubt as to the outcome of this election. But we're in a situation where Labor probably emerges from tonight a very slight favourite to form a government, but with a lot of water to flow under the bridge before that's any certainty.
Well, look, Kerry, I think we will form government, but there is some doubt. I must say I'm leaving tonight more positive than when I arrived, but it's going to be close. And I think the message that we've received is we have got a giant big kick in the pants, and the message, should we form government, is that we have to explain ourselves better to the community, we have to listen more, and we have to govern in a manner that is both... well, one in which the public feel they've got our confidence, and we've got their confidence that we need to work at a much closer level with the community, and it's a wake-up call and we will hear it. And of course it's a very different dynamic when you're governing on a knife edge than when you're governing with a... Well, you know, the first term of Parliament in government we were, you know, knife edge would be too generous a term. It was more than a knife edge, it was a roller coaster. We were relying on one vote, but... Not the sort of deja vu you actually want to return to. Well, except, I guess, some would say we may have been a better government because we were held in a sharper focus. But I think the message Mike Rann just delivered then is one that I fully endorse, is we've got to perform better, we have to listen more, and we have to be more in sync and in tune with what the public expect their governments to be delivering. And we've made mistakes, and we shouldn't make those mistakes again in the future. And Rob Lucas, you'd be very mindful walking away tonight if, in fact, you find yourselves in opposition again, that having found a leader who has managed to pull your party together and to achieve this result, I would think that the number one critical element for everyone would be to put all of those leadership problems that you've had over the past number of years behind you. Now, is the party capable of doing that in a sustained way? Well, I think Isabel's demonstrated that in the last less than a year, and I don't think there'll be any doubt at all that having energised the party, energised the party support base, that Isabel will be re-elected and she'll take us to the next election, which is important for us. In terms of an overall assessment, yes, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the Labor Party would be slight favourites compared to us, but it's obviously still up in the air. Both leaders have not called it. Should we lose, perhaps the only final point I'd make is that this would be the third time since 1989, 2002 and then 2010, where the party has won close to 52% of the popular vote. Well, I was about to say to you, how do you feel about the fact that you've got in two-party preferred terms? Yeah, and the Labor Party, 48% of the two-party preferred vote, and we be in the opposition benches. And there are reasons for that. We'll have to look at the reasons for that. Obviously, some of those to do with boundaries and boundary changes, but others we'll have to look at in terms of campaigning strategy. But having more members will obviously make it easier for us in terms of campaigning in marginal seats as well. OK, now I'm told that Mike Rann is standing by. We may be able to talk to him. Mike Rann, it's Kerry O'Brien. Are you able to hear us?
I can barely hear you.
OK, well, I don't want to actually shout, Mike, because it might blow your eardrum out. But
that's okay.
This has been, as you've said, one hell of a roller coaster, and there may be a number of factors that have contributed to it. But I just wonder how you have felt personally as you have watched the incredibly dramatic way, not only that your party vote has fallen away, but also your personal vote.
Well, obviously it's been very concerning to us, but ultimately, you know, I worked for Don Dunstan, as you know, and as I said before, his third-term victory was by a handful of votes in one seat. John Bannon, who I also worked for, was an MP and a minister for, won his third term by a handful of votes in one seat. And what we're doing is continuing a tradition here, something that, by the way, I've been predicting now publicly for a long, long time. And of course, we've also had a fairly extraordinary election campaign and the build-up to, which has made it very, very difficult to get our message through, particularly in some media, but not in all. So I think that what we've been trying to do is to get through the message of a state. You know, when I got elected 8 years ago, there wasn't any commentator in the country that wasn't describing South Australia as Rust Bucket or Rust Belt or basket case. No one's saying that now. We've absolutely worked in a partnership with the community to turn this state round, and it has been a massive, massive privilege for me to serve the people of this state. And if we do get a third term, then obviously we want to not only continue to keep the growth going, keep the jobs and projects going, but also we want to go out there and reconnect with people.
What observations have you got to make about the quite dramatic fall away in Labor's support within your traditional safe seats, that very safe Labor base? What signal is that sending to you?
I think what it says is that we need to reconnect and rebuild, and that's exactly what happened after Don Dunstan's third election, where he almost lost and then went out and reconnected with people. And, you know, we have community cabinet meetings where we open it up, the cabinet, to the public. We do street corner meetings, but we've got to do more of it. We've got to take it back to the streets and the shopping centres and the factories, and we've got to reconnect with people. And but, you know, also it is, people have been saying to us, to South Australian governments for years, that they wanted boldness, not wimping out on our future. And I think that what we've done has been bold, and we've had to do lots of things along the way that were unpopular. Rather than, you know, doing the populist thing, we've done sometimes things that we've had to do that have taken on our own base, like reforming work cover and a range of areas like that. But we've done so because we've tried to act in the best interests of the state. And we're going to continue to do that if we get re-elected. But we're not claiming victory tonight. We're not claiming victory. There's still a whole lot more counting to do, and we've got to talk to people, listen to people, and see how things play out in the next few days. But we're certainly not claiming victory, but I hope we'll be able to say that if we do get re-elected for a third term, given that all of the noise that's gone on and all of the abuse and all of the smearing that's gone on, that this will be a very sweet victory to win the third term here in South Australia.
You have been the leader of your party now for 16 years, which is an extraordinarily long time in terms of modern politics and people's capacity to sustain their support for modern political leaders. I understand that during the campaign you would have had to say, or you would have felt you had to say, that you were going to serve for the full 4 years of the next term. But surely, given what has happened in this election, whether you form a government again in your own right or whether you are able to govern as a minority government with support from one or more independents, surely you have to reconsider whether it's in your own interests and the interests of your party to serve another full 4 years.
More than my interests and more than the interests of my party, the first thing that will come first is the interest of this state. And I've said before I came to this election campaign that I intended, if re-elected, to serve a full 4-year term. And obviously that's something that I want to do. I mean, I'm about the same age as John Howard was when he was first elected as Prime Minister. So the thing is that it's about re-engaging, re-energising. And I think we've got a good story to tell, and maybe we need to tell it better. And maybe we need to go out and connect connect on a much more one-to-one basis with the people of this state.
Ever had a bigger scare in politics?
Sorry?
Have you ever had a bigger scare in politics?
Kerry, I've been around a long time. I went through the state bank election in 1993, which was, you know, a tsunami of. We were elected almost unanimously to opposition. I led an opposition
but I guess you
at
saw
one stage of 10 people. So
I guess you saw that one coming, though.
We saw that one coming, but also I saw this one coming, Kerry, because I said so many times that we would absolutely be facing a line ball election, just like Don Dunstan and John Bannon did, and I think that was proven right. I mean, so obviously there's been a whole range of factors come into this, you know, which saw us getting blocked in terms of getting our message through, and sometimes it felt like we weren't just running against the Liberal Party, we're running against others and other interests as well. But the key thing is that if we do get re-elected for a third term, then we promise to reconnect with the people. But it looks like I have to go.
Yeah,
so thank you very much.
I'll let you reconnect with your own supporters. Mike Rann, thanks for talking with us.
Thank you, Kerry.